Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 26th of December 2016 to the 1st of January 2017. Before we go ahead with the stars for this week, I wanted to just have a bit of a recap of 2016 in general, as this is the last week of the calendar year. So many people have reported this has not been an easy year. We've certainly been challenged on many levels. But without a perspective of how time is a spiral, how time is moving on, how we're learning things from each of these aspects, then we can get trapped into a mentality of things are bad and they're only going to get worse, or things are happening to me from the outside and there's nothing I can do about it, that victim stance. So when we look back at 2016, it certainly has been challenging, but not without reason. So really good time between Christmas and the calendar New Year to actually take a look back and try and find the reason for it. We're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde, so that means going in and finding the meaning and the message. And this is a great week to be able to do this once we've stopped from our normal routine. So we're in a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, and we had one of these last January, so we started the year with this event too. And we had 3 Mercury retrogrades in Earth signs. So this has been a signature of 2016, Mercury retrograde in Earth. So in Capricorn, that's all about looking at your foundations, looking at your roots and examining them, your core beliefs and whether they're supporting you or undermining you. And we did begin the year last year with this very much alive as a feature, and we end the year with this still going strong. So looking into our psychological beliefs, it's the manifestation really. With Mercury is the magician, and it's what we manifest from our thoughts and bring into reality. It can even be where our thoughts are calcifying into the physical body as well. So if anybody's had any health issues, then have a look at the thought process or the belief process behind that. What have you been thinking and believing for so long that that's actually manifested in your body? Can you get to the core of that, and can you change the belief? Is it true? Is it yours? Once you get the message, can you let go of it? Because Mercury likes to change shape from solid to liquid, so we can actually release and rinse during a Mercury retrograde if we do go in with that introspection. And Capricorn's a tough one, because Capricorn takes us all the way back through our childhood roots, all the way through our ancestral roots, and possibly even into past lifetimes. Belief systems that have really become sedimented and just unchallenged will carry on not supporting us. It can be to do with harshness and endurance, because that's the sign of Capricorn, is the deep dark winter. We've got to, the furthest to go, we've got to really have that determination and discipline. So with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, beginning and ending the year, have you made any revelations? Have you actually seen where you may have been doing this to yourself? Have you challenged your core beliefs? And have you changed your mind by replacing those beliefs with something a bit more healthy? The beliefs that we're given as we're growing up were relevant at that time according to the collective perspective of our parents and our society. But it doesn't mean to say that they're going to carry on being true. So this isn't just challenging everything for the sake of it, for the sake of being different or rebellious. This is just gently going in and doing the weeding, really. What you're believing now, you may have picked up as a relevant belief a couple of decades ago, if not longer, but does that actually serve you as the world has changed, as you have changed, and your situation has changed? So there's a great releasing that can go on if we're flexible with this Mercury mind, if we can go in and have a look at those beliefs. Are they supporting you, or are they undermining you? In May we had Mercury retrograde in Taurus, which was all to do with our self-worth. Taurus is very much to do with the heart, values and valuables, what we love, who we love, how we love. And it was the how we love that really came up. There was a victim story of whether it's want, need or love that we got the chance to look at, especially in May. So where we're wanting something from someone that we're not giving something to ourselves internally, and we're looking for that validation or that support system on the outside. So the stabilisers were taken off the bike in May, and we were left to stand in our own independence and our own integrity and authenticity, freeing up our relationships to let the other person be them and to be self-supporting so that they can be them rather than what we need from them. So that was a very difficult one in 2016, but if we can actually wrap that up this week, then we don't need to go into those codependent or needy relationships anymore. But we can also let go of the fear and the pain that may have brought up, because by going and investigating it, getting the seed of awareness, we can let that all go and we can move on to much more free-flowing and open soul connections in 2017. In September we had Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and this was to do with what we're taking in and digesting. This was to do with whether we are using our life force energy correctly, whether we're giving our power away, whether we're reaching out to try and fix everyone else rather than honouring our own selves and nourishing our own selves. So there was a feeling of being shown where we're letting our energy drain day to day. That might have been in the workplace or the family or friendships or relationships, but where we're being too responsible and trying to distract ourselves from ourselves by fixing everybody else or worrying about everybody else. And the reflection there of the Mercury retrograde was consider yourself, nourish yourself, digest what others are showing you from the outside. Is this what happens in a Mercury retrograde? We often get situations come up, but they're literally there to show us what we can attend to internally. So letting go of the weight of over-responsibility or the distraction of everybody else comes first, and coming back into the central core with Virgo of self-nourishment, digesting the message and then releasing the baggage, but just taking that seed of knowledge forwards. And now we're back in Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So this week we have that in full effect, and by Wednesday the Sun meets with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and shines a light on our authentic thoughts and expression. So if we've cleared up the false beliefs, then we need to actually replace that with beliefs that are strong and true and real, so that when we manifest, we're manifesting something of our core nature. So standing strong, centered, flexible, and then having a look at what we're thinking and what that's creating going forwards is what we're here to do this week, because by January the 8th Mercury will go direct again, and then we'll start to manifest, then we'll start to build. So in essence, January the 8th is more like your New Year's resolution setting day rather than January the 1st or December the 31st. So our thoughts are creating our reality. We don't like the reality, we can change the thoughts. If we really want to do the work, we can go back to the first time that we picked up that thought or belief and challenge that right at the core, rather than trying to psychologically unpick everything that's happened to us in our lives and getting caught in that stream of consciousness, getting caught up in the personality story. So very much pulling up at the roots, anything that hasn't served us, anything that's time to go now, so that when we build from January the 8th onwards, we're building something on solid ground, something supportive and something where we can reach high as a result and produce wonderful, abundant fruits. This year we've also had Jupiter move into Libra. This has helped with free flow relating, standing in your own sovereignty, recognising the sovereign side of the other, the soul side, and allowing those two souls to flow, rather than having an agenda and a hidden contract when relating with others that we need them to perform for us. So we've had to let go of the chess game. If I do this, then they'll think that, or if I say this, then they'll react that way. We don't want to be kind of controlling and manipulating each other for our own needs anymore. And that's very much been taught to us over the decades as well. So Jupiter came into Libra in September and is asking us to create the space by standing up in our own right, and by honouring ourselves, we're less needy and dependent and attached to what the other does or doesn't do for us, think for us, feel about us. We can actually start to see people in their true light now and give them the space to expand into it as well. Trusting that when we're feeling our own natural tone and when we allow the other person to, that's actually what makes that soul flow happen, because we're not about to change, we're not about to get too ecstatic or depressed according to external situations or according to what that person's doing. And we can actually flow on the vibration of what's the connection between these two souls, and then set a path of inspiration and adventure and honour going forwards. So Jupiter will remain in Libra until next summer, and this has been a long and underpinning message that we've had coming through about space, sovereignty and flow. We've had Uranus carry on through Aries, rewiring the way that we think, asking us to dare, to challenge, to change, to rebel, to let go of anything that's been holding us back. So free thought, independent thinking is going to continue into 2017 with Uranus in Aries. We've had Pluto in Capricorn really helping us to get to the deep healing, get to the deep change and the alchemy within our core. So another very integral aspect there, and that's going to continue for a good few years yet. So really finding our own centre and standing for what we truly know. And interestingly, we've had Saturn in Sagittarius saying, well, do your research. Much of what you've learnt so far at school and through the system has actually been wrong. So can you do your own research? Can you be your own teacher? Can you look with a broad perspective and then focus until you get to the point of what is true, rather than just repeating what the system wants you to believe or what you were taught way back when. So very honest and integral exploration there with Saturn in Sagittarius, and that will last all the way through 2017 as well. Neptune has continued removing the veils in Pisces. One by one, just when people talk about waking up, I feel this is where they're feeling it, just veils of illusion being lifted. And this is with the emotional sight really. This has been a clear up of our emotions and a reconnection to our cellular knowing, our inner compass and our emotional wisdom. And that's very helpful. It's not necessarily comfortable, especially when there are aspects to Neptune, but just getting rid of any of the illusion and the delusion, the comfort zones and the unhealthy boundaries or lack of boundaries, so that we can feel, we can trust our intuition, and we can step forwards with that as our compass and our guide. So a lot of these planets are at the last signs of the zodiac, so this does feel like we've been on a bit of a degree course, bit of a long learning curve, and working with each one of these separately. In the wisest signs of the zodiac, we really are coming back to ourselves in the age of remembering. So there's not a lot of activity this week. There's the Sun meeting with Mercury on Wednesday, which is a retrograde thing, so shining the light, as I say, on authentic thought and expression, the root of the thought, seeing where there's been any build-up of unnecessary debris and being able to blast that off. So moments of clarity there on Wednesday. Then by Thursday we are with the new moon in Capricorn. So new moon in Capricorn is another kind of New Year's Day sort of a feeling. Not really ready to set intentions yet from the mental plane because we're in the retrograde phase, and like I say, that's best left till after January the 8th. But very much about having a look at what your cellular resolutions would be, what your spiritual resolutions would be on the inward level. So when many people set intentions, it's often focused on that new job, new house, new relationship, new car, new gym routine. But this will be a going inwards and saying new self-worth, new self-love, new centre of strength and sovereignty and integrity, new perspective on the world as well as new perspective on ourselves, and really taking us right in to the very, very centre of the heart, not the mind, to begin to feel our intentions, to begin to nourish that fuel on the inside, so that when we do actually then engage the mind afterwards, it's set in the right direction. And we can aim our soul force energy with precision. By the new moon, Mars will have moved into Pisces, so this is a very good aspect. Get into the very centre of the soul of your body, of the cells of your body, of what makes you excited, what gives you hope, what you really deeply care about. Start to reconnect with that, cleansing away any emotional baggage or any conditioning that says that you're not worth it, or you can't do it, or it could never happen. Connecting with the imagination, which is where we create from, and just swimming in the waters of Pisces for a while to really feel what matters to us and who we are and what we've come here to be, because Pisces is very much about our other self, beyond the five senses, beyond the daily routine. So a lovely time on Thursday there to think of yourself over lifetimes, or to have a look at yourself as a light being. Where you travel, what effect do you have, what alchemy do you have, where are you guided towards and why, and what maybe have you come here to actually contribute to your soul's lesson and to your group that you find yourself with on this planet in these times. So very beautiful new moon there in Capricorn, again 7 degrees, which is the number of the seeker. So seek deep within and reconnect to the soul of the matter, and just allow that to be an environment that you swim around in without having to engage the active mind just yet. I feel by the time we get to the end of the week, we're looking at our relationship with time. We have this calendar reset where we're told we're going into 2017, and they call it New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But when does the year really start or finish? Is that your relationship with time? Are you going to pin everything on the countdown on the 31st to say this is a fresh start? And if that causes pressure, then maybe just have a think, is it really New Year? Because we all have a personal New Year in our chart, and then the zodiac begins as we go from Pisces to Aries, the spring equinox, and then we've already had a new year of sorts with the winter solstice as the sun is reborn. So maybe don't put too much pressure on this reset, on this calendar, because I think people pull themselves out and force themselves to do things that they don't want to do in order to be seen to be happy or to be at a certain place at a certain time. And it's quite unnatural, really. 31st of December through to the 4th of January is actually an alignment with silence, with holding the space, with meditation, with going within rather than going out and partying. So once again, I said this last year and I got some very positive response. If you don't feel like doing New Year's Eve, then know that you don't have to, because it's not actually a real zodiac date. Take the pressure off yourself. Try not to get too desperate to wrap up the whole year by a certain time, or too heavily invested in setting intentions that may be better done after the 8th anyway. But because we're going inwards, we can also explore time with Mercury. So the flow of time, our relationship to time, our thoughts, our feelings, and where is your relationship with time actually creating a bit of a prison? Where can you break free from that way of thinking? From, if I haven't done this by then I'll be unhappy, or if I'm here at this point then I'll be happy. It's not really. Time is always now, and we shouldn't just put that much pressure on this particular weekend. If this doesn't go right, then that means that for the whole of the rest of the year. Or like I said at the beginning, if 2016 was difficult, then I expect 2017 to be the same. We're not dealing with time in a linear fashion. We do have the chance to reset every day. And it feels to me this new moon in Capricorn is very much a calling inwards until the 8th to just be in a space of who am I? What do I care about? What have I created? And what would I like to create going forwards? And the centre of that, the desire in that, and the inner calling and the intuition. And we can promise ourselves for the next few days that that will be our guide before we step forward with thoughts and actions later in January. So all told, it's the Christmas period, we've got Mercury retrograde. Listen to what people are saying, feel the texture. Don't jump in or try and impose your view too quickly, because it's a very revelatory aspect when Mercury goes retrograde. We get messages, we get to see and hear and feel what's actually being said. And if we stop, look and listen long enough, then we can learn a great deal from this. So we may be able to bond closer with our relatives or whoever we're spending time with if we stop and listen to them. We hear the texture of their voice and the feeling of where they're coming from, rather than just judging them on the words and holding time until it's our turn to speak. So that'll be a very interesting one for real communication and for allowing that stillness and that space and that observation, rather than being caught up in the busy streaming mind. To get beyond our personality story, to get beyond our narrative and actually to speak with authenticity will be another aspect. So we can have a look at our turn of phrase, we can have a look at how we feel about ourselves and therefore how we express, how we're coming across. And if we're belittling ourselves in any way with little thoughts or low self-esteem, then can you actually stop long enough to change your vocabulary and to actually speak with integrity, to speak less but to say more, and to allow your thoughts to actually be creating your more desired future. So communication, perspective, thoughts, beliefs, being inwards, being still, and just exploring ourselves on the deepest level is all of the feeling that I get for this week. Just knowing that we can wait until after the 8th before we put any of this in action. But in order to know where we want to go, or what we want to be, or how we want to reset for 2017, we need to go in and meet our true selves. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. When we start to study our chart, we can see where all of these aspects are happening for us, but as well we can explore our own natural birth dynamic, where the planets were when we were born. And each planet represents a different part of ourselves, so we come back to a fuller knowing of ourselves if we do take this journey. So I am available for readings, one-to-one or over Skype, and I have a series of courses if you wanted to actually take your energy and put it somewhere valuable in 2017. Then maybe embark on a study of your birth chart or astrology or both. This can be done by my online courses, or maybe join my membership group where you can actually post up your chart and learn as and when you're free at your own pace about how we engage with these energies and what it all means. Most people, when they learn astrology, take on too much too quickly and then give up. So what I try to do in all of my materials and all of my online presence is to do the right thing at the right time and provide you with a simple structure so that you can learn. And I would always recommend that people take at least a year to learn their chart and to walk with every aspect as it happens, because it's you learning about you. It doesn't have to be difficult. You're just reconnecting with parts of yourself that you may have forgotten or pushed down or not met yet. So for 2017, if anybody would like to learn astrology, then please do email me, because there's a number of ways that we can do this, and it really is a very rewarding study. I've created gift packs for each sign as well, and those are brand new, being very well received. So if anybody would like to receive a gift pack all about their sign, then those are now available on my website. So for any of that, please do contact me, zoehines7@gmail.com.